Hi guys, welcome to the last official lesson. There's going to be a video after this. This is the last official lesson. So if you've made it to here, congratulations. And I hope that you have been applying all of the things that I've been sharing with you and making sure you jump in the group if you have any questions. So this lesson is all about embracing imperfection and creating self-compassion. Things that don't sound like they would have anything to do with weight loss, but they are honestly so key to keep you moving forward and creating those consistent, healthy habits, as well as creating like a lifestyle you actually love and building confidence and feeling good about yourself every single day. If someone would have told me in the very beginning of my journey that I needed to like not be perfect to actually be successful, I would have been like, what are you talking about? That is completely untrue, because I am what I've heard called a recovering perfectionist. I am always trying to focus on done is better than perfect. The second piece is I totally thought that like I should just hate myself until I lost weight and felt good about myself physically. But that is could also not be further from the truth. We need to do those things from day one to help us actually create the success that we want. So what I want to talk about in this lesson is why these things are so important, and then also how do we start practicing them. So number one is I'll start off with perfection. When we are focused so much on perfection and things being exactly the way that we want them to be, anytime things don't go as planned, which is called life, then we are ready to just throw in the towel and think that we cannot continue on because it was not perfect. When we are willing to embrace the imperfection, because truly perfection doesn't exist. I heard once that definition, some type of definition for perfection is like always striving. So like really there is no end destination. It's truly just continuously looking to level up. So I always like to look at it as redefining our definition of perfection. For me, I consider perfection just evolving and growing and working towards becoming the best version of myself every single day. So really there is no end in sight. So like if something gets messed up, it's totally fine. So that is the first piece, is really working on embracing that idea that there is no perfect, that you don't need a perfect meal plan, that you don't need a perfect workout, you don't need perfect workout clothes because they don't exist. You don't need any of it. Just get started where you are with what you have. Something doesn't go right, really work on deciding that you're going to work on being flexible, pivoting. What can you do with what you have where you are? And those power questions that I mentioned that I've shared before, those can be really helpful here too. That will be in your workbook, because you can always ask yourself, what can I do and what can I control here? So really working on that idea of like perfect doesn't exist. Let's redefine perfection and not striving for it. And if you don't have the things that you think are right or that you need, what do you have and what can you work with, and how can you still stay on track and continue the lifestyle regardless? So the second thing is self-compassion and just like really loving yourself, having your own back no matter what. That is so, so key too, for a couple of reasons. And I'll give you one. It goes back to that thought model that we keep talking about. The way that we think creates the way that we feel, which drives our actions and results. I don't know if you guys have ever been in a situation where you overate or you went off your plan. I know I have, and I know so many clients that I've had and people that I talk to, and then we're beating ourselves up right after in the next day. We are literally running ourselves into the ground with our thinking, and it never drives an action that we want. Usually when we're beating ourselves up, then we are going and overeating again because we want to cover up the negative feeling that we're creating for ourselves by beating ourselves up. It's putting ourselves in this really negative thought and behavior spiral that we need to break. So that is one thing. It's not creating the results and the actions that we want until we decide like 2 weeks later, okay, I'm done. I'm never going to do this again, all the things. We can actually break that the second that we catch our thoughts, second that we catch ourselves beating ourselves up and being really negative to ourselves. That is what we want to just decide we're not doing that anymore. The other thing is it feels horrible. Feels horrible. Why would we want to get to our goals that way? Like it's not necessary. We can just remove that piece of it. And again, those two things work together, because if we're embracing imperfection and the idea that we're going to fail, we're going to mess up, things aren't going to work, we're okay with it. And then we don't really feel the need to beat ourselves up anymore. Not that we ever need to beat ourselves up. I once heard that there is no food or drink that is damaging as beating ourselves up. And there are enough people in the world that are going to be negative to us and say things that are unhelpful or demeaning, whatever it is about or to us. Why would we ever choose to do that to ourselves as well? Like it makes no literal sense. So there's no benefit to it. It feels horrible, and it's not driving the actions and the results that you want. I promise you. I've had this conversation with people and they'll tell me that it is. And then I'm like, let's talk through that. And we actually feel like it's usually the thought after them beating themselves up that is driving the results, not that thought. Remember the thought model. It's not the way it works. So we really want to eliminate both of those things for those reasons that I shared. So the second piece of this is, how do we do it? The first thing we have to do always is decide. We have to decide, I'm going to let go of perfection and I'm going to focus on my goals. I'm going to focus on progress. I'm going to focus on my goals, and I'm going to pass on the perfection, like goodbye. And we have to decide, I am going to love myself and have my own back no matter what. I'm done putting myself down. That is key. You just have to decide. And then the second piece, we have to start becoming aware of when we're doing either of those things. We have to open our eyes. And I shared with you the practice of mindful eating, but it's really the same practice with like mindful thinking. Like, kind of goes back to module 1 again. This all loops together. Becoming aware of what we're thinking and we're saying about us and all of the things. So then we can question it. Just like I said before, hold it in your hand. Like, oh, that's an interesting thought. Do I want to keep thinking that? That's what we do here with the perfection and with the, creating that self-compassion and self-love and all of those things. Like, are the thoughts and the things we're saying beneficial? And are they doing that after we have made that full decision? So step number 1 is make that decision. Step number 2 is become aware of where is the perfection happening in your life and holding you back, and where are you not practicing self-compassion and love for yourself and really having your own back. And then the third piece is that intentional action. What are we going to do going forward to change that? Now, I have included 2 things in the workbook and in the resources here. One is a self-reflection and resilience worksheet and checklist. I highly encourage after this video that you go through and you complete that. And that will help you kind of evaluate where you're at and what you can do going forward, as well as some tools that I am talking about in this video. So once you have identified, those things that, just looking at my notes to see if there's anything else that I didn't mention. Yeah, so once you have identified what you've been doing, you have to decide what you want to change it to. What are some things that would be more beneficial and more helpful for you? I know for myself, and I will actually, if I can find it, link one of the videos that I've recorded before down below as well. I know for myself, the thing that was a game changer for me was after something happens that just, I didn't follow my plan how I wanted to. Maybe I overate, maybe I had something that was like, just didn't plan on it. Maybe I completely forgot, whatever it was literally telling myself, it's fine. It's okay. Because it is. It's over and done with. Like, it's fine. And then deciding, what is that next best step I can take? What is that next best step in honor of me, taking care of myself and my health, that I can take? So anytime that you are feeling like you are not practicing that self-compassion for you, we want to evaluate why. What do we think that we're actually going to create by being mean to ourselves? And then second, we want to make a shift. Because we've already made that decision that we're going to. Okay. So coming off of this video, what we want to do is my action item for you is to go through the worksheets that are on the self-reflection and resilience worksheet, the self-love and self-compassion, and also to decide right now, decide that you are, 1, never going to give up on this. 2, you are always going to have your back, and you are going to stop talking negatively and thinking negatively about yourself. You're always going to have compassion. And then number 3 is that you are going to give up on perfection. You are going to embrace that it's not going to be perfect, and you're going to be willing to pivot, and you're going to be willing to be flexible, because that is key when you're working towards any goal, and it makes it so much easier for you. The last thing that I want to mention here that is really helpful sometimes when we're feeling like very judgmental against ourselves or someone else, something that can be really helpful is curiosity. Like looking at things, especially if you did something like overeat or you planned to work out and you didn't go for a whole week. We want to look at it as curiosity. I mentioned this before earlier in one of the videos, like using a scientist's mind, like interesting, what happened here? Like almost putting yourself again outside of yourself. If you were looking at this like under a microscope, like, that's interesting. I made that plan and I didn't follow it. What happened here? And it always goes back to a thought. That the action was didn't go to the gym. So what were you thinking and feeling? We didn't go to the gym. Let's look at that as data, and then we can learn from it and change going forward. Okay, so that is the last official lesson in this course. Please watch the following video just talking about next steps. Again, drop any questions you have in the Facebook group, and I hope this was helpful, and we will talk soon.